Hello, my name is Maya. Welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about Seeking Sister Wives Season 4, Episode 12, I believe. We start off with the Merrifield family, and they're in Brazil, and Roberta has taken them to a famous beach in Brazil. I forgot what the name of the beach was called, but it's a beach. And of course, the translator is there, and Danielle and Garrett and Roberta are all walking, but then Roberta asks, can you know her and Danielle just go and have a private conversation, and Garrett goes off and does whatever. And the reason why Roberta's doing this because she wants to talk about Danielle, whether she really wants to be in this polygamous relationship or not. She just wants to make sure that it's her desire and just not Garrett's desire. I feel like she's picking up on that, or she did pick up on that, because Roberta is kind of like a threat to Danielle, but not in like a bad way, I guess, if that makes any sense. I mean, it isn't in a bad way, because I wouldn't say Roberta is ruining their marriage, because their marriage was already ruined, I think, before Roberta had even came into the picture. I don't think Roberta has ruined it or anything, but Roberta is kind of like a threat to Danielle because it can make their marriage go even worse into the dump more than it already is. I guess she's picking up that she is a threat, or that Danielle is uncomfortable with her kind of being in the presence of Garrett and kind of being lovey-dovey and all that stuff. Going to the actual conversation between the two, Roberta ends up asking her the question, and Danielle says that of course she wants to do this. This is just not Garrett's desire, it's just hers as well. She does say it was very hard for her at first, and she wanted to be strong for Roberta and just for everyone and let everyone be happy. Danielle also get emotional, and Roberta asks, why didn't you tell me? I want to be there for you. I kind of want to be a sister to you. Well, technically a sister, because that's kind of like the whole point, but basically just be there for Danielle and vice versa. Then Roberta goes on to talk about how she was very uncomfortable when they had decided to add another sister wife, even though Roberta did not want that. In the confessional, Danielle says that she was shocked by that, and they decided to start dating around again once Roberta said that she wasn't gonna be able to come to the US because her mother was sick. And that's why that led them to the decision to go ahead and start dating again, because I guess they didn't want to wait for Roberta any longer. Danielle says she wonders if it stems from Roberta's own jealousy and own issues. I really didn't like that, because why are you trying to flip it on Roberta like Roberta is the problem? Because I vividly remember them stating that Roberta was very uncomfortable with it and she really didn't want it to happen. Even Danielle was really uncomfortable with it. The relationship just never flourished enough with Leah, so Danielle could really show her uncomfortableness and jealousy. So it's kind of ironic that it's coming from someone like Danielle. Going back to this scene, Danielle was crying, says she didn't know that she was uncomfortable with it because Garrett has said that you were comfortable with it, but Roberta says that's not true, which it isn't, because like I said, I remember them saying that Roberta was uncomfortable with it, but she was gonna have to get comfortable with it, and they were just gonna go through with it anyways. Danielle ends up saying sorry that she made Roberta feel that way and put her in the uncomfortable situation, but then going to the in-person confessional with Roberta says that one day she woke up, she got a phone call or a FaceTime, I'm not sure which one it is, but she randomly got introduced to Leah. She just didn't know how to say that she was uncomfortable with adding another sister wife, I guess not wanting to upset Leah and be standoffish towards her, even though she was already that without even trying, just because no matter what you try to do, your feelings will always show to some extent. If it's just the bare minimum and people can't even pick up on it, but your feelings definitely show towards the situation, rather you say something or rather you don't say anything at all. And we get an in-person personal confession with Danielle on her iPhone, and it's very upset because she feels like there are very mixed signals and now she doesn't really know what to go with, and gonna have to talk and have a conversation about what transpired. Next, move on to Taryn, India, and Marcus. It's the day after Marcus had met up with Janae that night, and Marcus did not come home, and India is very upset about that. And as soon as he walks in the door, he says nothing happened between him and Janae, and he just ended up falling asleep. Taryn is here for the whole conversation as well. I feel like I need to mention that because I feel like she does say something later on. Marcus understands why they're upset, but he also repeats that nothing happened and he had a few drinks and ended up falling asleep at Janae's Airbnb, which I think that's kind of believable, because I know there are a lot of people out there, once they drink a little bit or a little bit too much, they end up getting sleepy. Still not necessarily an excuse, because if you know you get sleepy after you start drinking, then don't drink, or drink when you're at home. And as they're having the conversation, India explains that if you know you have somewhere to be, then don't put yourself in situations that can avoid you from getting that place that you need to be in, and just don't put yourself in crappy situations like I said. On top of that, India also feels like if I don't fall asleep at random houses, well, it wasn't a random house, but her point was that I don't do that, then why should you? There should be mutual respect between each other. I think because Marcus doesn't see it as an issue, or he doesn't respect India in the sense that she respects him. And I think it's the second option, just because they kind of put him on this anarchy that he's the king, and he has this mindset as that as well. Like his wives are kind of like his peasants, and they're not necessarily all in equal. So I think that's what it is, and just the same respect isn't relayed. Even though he understands why someone would be upset about that, but since they're in the type of relationship that they're in, it doesn't really matter. But in Marcus' defense to sleeping over with Janae, he said that India had his location and Taryn. India says that she didn't have his location, but that was because Marcus didn't give it to her. There was something going on with her phone or with the app on her end. So I understood what Marcus is saying, like, don't be mad at me because there's an issue going wrong on your end, not my end, so don't put the blame on me. So I definitely got what he was saying there. Then Taryn also had his location, so it wasn't like just no one knew where he was. If they wanted to, they definitely could have figured it out, but India did not want to wake up Taryn in the middle of the night. I get that, but if you know your husband or whoever wife's supposed to be home by a certain time and they're not, wouldn't you be a little concerned? Like, what if they got killed, kidnapped, or I don't know, literally anything that could put their life in danger? So why wouldn't you, see where he is? But I think India's afraid of getting the same treatment as Taryn. I think that's really all comes down to at the end of the day, and why she's not so open to this whole sister wife thing as much as I guess she should be or would want to be. That's really what it comes all down to, and why this was such a big issue when he did not come home. But they decided to put it all behind them, and Marcus gives them a couple of kisses, and they're all good and dandy now. And they're still working on their relationship with Bina, they said, but they need to, still talk about a couple of things. India talks about how she just can't take Bina serious because she hasn't seen her in any serious situations or necessarily take anything serious. Which I say that could be an issue, but I think it's only an issue for India because she doesn't want to be replaced. Or she still wants to be the main character at all times. And she knows if Janae or Bina comes to the situation, she won't be the main character. They will be, or they'll take turns being the main character in Marcus's life. Next, move on to Bridget and Steve. And Steve is taking his son Preston to go check out the new house, and it's almost done. I believe like the inside is all finished, but I think they have to move in and finish like the counters and stuff because the counters didn't look all the way done. But Jaden did not come with them. But Steve says his relationship with Jaden is pretty good and it's the best it's ever been. He's hoping she'll eventually work her way up to being more open when it comes to polygamy and his situation. And I'm gonna hope she does as well. Not because I think it's okay or that she should go against what she believes, but I don't think it's necessarily worth losing a relationship with your parent over. And it isn't Jaden's job to have to maintain the relationship in an apparent way that's Steve's job, but also Steve is a bit self-centered and selfish, and because he is, that just means that other people are gonna have to start taking the initiative. But anyway, Steve is gonna introduce Preston to April, and they're gonna be meeting for the very first time. Preston doesn't feel one way or the other about it. It's just like needing a new person, and Preston talks about how he couldn't juggle two girlfriends personally, but if it makes his dad happy, then it's okay. He just wants his dad to be happy, which I'm glad Preston kind of has that mindset when it comes to people, at least his dad, because as long as someone's happy and they're not necessarily harming anyone or themselves, I don't necessarily think it's the end of the world. Well, of course, some things are kind of just like, they're not necessarily harming you or anybody else, but they're still kind of wrong, but you get my point. We go into the meeting and it's very awkward. Like, no one is saying anything, they're just staring at each other. I think everyone was just really nervous and no one wanted to say anything wrong or make someone dislike them or anything like that. So that probably is. I was super awkward, but I also think that April may have had a realization, and so Preston as well, that they're both kind of young, and it's a little weird because his son is 18 and she's 21. Like, that could be his girlfriend. That would be weird and a bit predatory as well. Not a bit, it would be predatory, but I feel like 18 and 21 is better than 40 and 21. Well, that's how I think Steve is, but yeah. But once that awkward meeting is over, Brenda and April go and look back at the house and finish catching up, and now it's just Steve and Preston, and they talk about how the meetup went. Preston asks how old is April, and he says that April is 21. Preston is a little shocked by that, but he's gonna support his dad because he just wants his dad to be happy, and then if Steve likes her and cares for her, then Preston likes her and cares for her as well. everyone's happy that they've gone over this milestone, and hopefully things will go smoother, and they all just want to be happy. I'm all for supporting the people you love, but I also think there comes a time and a situation where supporting is just kind of morally wrong in a sense, because it's like April is 21 and Steve is 40, 45, I don't know, but he's in his 40s. Like, he could be your dad. Like, I personally wouldn't be able to support that, and I think that's going to be an issue when it comes down to Jaden. I don't think she's going to like the fact that April is 21 at all. Move back around to the Merrifield family, and Danielle goes back and meets up with Garrett and explains the situation, and Roberta feeling uncomfortable with adding another sister wife. Now they all need to talk about it, and especially Garrett, because he says they shouldn't bring up things from the past that they've already gone over and have moved on from. But if Roberta's bringing it up, that means she hasn't moved on from it, and just because you've moved on from it doesn't mean everyone else has. So I don't think he should just push Roberta's thoughts off to the left and not acknowledge them. I mean, he doesn't even acknowledge Danielle's feelings, so wouldn't expect anything more or less from him. When they meet up, Roberta talks about how she felt like her feelings were acknowledged, and she was kind of being pushed out of the picture once a third sister wife came to the picture, especially because it wasn't in America yet, and she wanted to be there for something like that and at least have a bigger role into it. They say they never wanted to make her feel like that, and that was not the intention at all. Garrett ends up saying that they don't want to add another sister wife without Roberta there, and they're not going to, and the reason why Garrett said that is because Sully's get to the United States, and I believe when the third sister wife came into the picture, Roberta had decided that she no longer wanted to come, so she was still very hesitant about it. I feel like that's the only reason why Garrett is waiting to add another sister wife. I feel like he's not caring about Roberta as much as he should, because the fact that she's sad and unhappy should make you not want to do it in general. But you want to do something that made the person you love and care about upset and disheartens them. You shouldn't want to do that. But it's just about sex for Garrett, which we already knew that, so whatever. Move on to India, Taryn, and Marcus. Marcus flew out Bina so he can talk to her and just catch up and continue on their relationship. They go on a little coffee date, and as they're walking to the coffee shop, I noticed that Bina has a unicorn tattooed in the back of her head. I never noticed that, but I guess it's like the kind of thing India was talking about. They don't know she can take anything serious. I'm sorry, but if I see you have a unicorn on your head, I'm never gonna think you take anything serious. And not that there's anything wrong with that, because each to its own. Whatever the saying is, I don't think I said it right, but you get my point. Let's actually get back into the scene. So when they sit down, they start talking and catching up, and Marcus brings up how there was a situation where Marcus had called Bina, asked what she's doing, and Bina said she was going out, and Marcus had asked where, and she said she was just going out and not necessarily giving him a direct answer, kind of hopscotching around it. Marcus was very upset just because he gives Bina the same respect and honesty, so why can't she give it to him? Marcus does end up apologizing to Bina because he says he came across very aggressive on the phone, and that was not his intention. He just wants to know where she is and where she's going. I think Bina thinks she doesn't owe Marcus that type of commitment because there are 2 other wives she has to entertain. I don't think she knows that she still has to do the same thing she would do in a monogamous relationship. He just has to spread his time with multiple people. Next, move on to the Davis family, and they're all getting ready for a date night, and for this specific date, they're going to propose to Danielle. Getting ready, and Nick is putting on makeup, which I don't have any issue with men putting on makeup or anything like that. I think if that's what they want to do, that's what makes them happy, they should do it. But black is also not his color. Maybe something a little lighter, I'm not sure. Black definitely wasn't it. And then once we saw their outfits, Nick looks like a pimp and his wives look like his hoes. I don't even mean to say that to be rude or to be insulting to anybody, because it's not my intention, but wow, do they really look like that. But anyways, actually go to the date. They're going to like some little clock place that's like a gnome place in Oregon. I think they live in, I don't know what it's called, I 100% forgot, but they're going to this place and they pick Danielle up, and everything is going pretty fine, smooth. Danielle doesn't know why everyone had to dress so nice, because they do go on dates, but they usually plan it out together. But this time Danielle wasn't included, and they were just like, oh, we're going on a date, come along, So they sit down and start eating and talking. Nick does the thing that you do when you're about to propose, but they all ask, will you marry me, Danielle? Or will you marry us, Danielle? That's what they really asked, and she says yes, and the ring they give her is her birthstone. Instead of diamonds, they all do birthstones instead, which that's actually a really good idea, and I kind of like it. But something that I do kind of find weird is that through the whole little date scene, Danielle was wearing her birthstone like colors. It was on her nails, heels. I think she was wearing a dress the color of it, or she was wearing a black dress. I think the dress was black. She had on her birthstone necklace, so maybe she got the necklace before the ring or something like that. But then also the ring looked like it came from Macy's, and like, you know, those little Christmas gifts you got when you were younger, even as an adult, that are like the little necklaces and rings that you get rather from your kids, your mom, or whoever that you get. Kind of what it looked like, but as long as Danielle's happy, that's all that really counts. But anyway, she did end up saying yes. I have no idea if I mentioned that or not, but I hope I did. Lastly, we move on to the Merrifield family, and Garrett is cooking breakfast for them, and once the breakfast is done, they all start sitting down and start talking about Roberta booking a plane ticket to the US. And Roberta is sad that she's gonna have to book the plane ticket and leave her family behind for a while, but she also decided to start this new life with Garrett and Dan. They're sitting down at the table. They book the ticket for Roberta to come to the US, and I think it's in 3 or 4 weeks, I believe. But yeah, that was in the episode. Sorry for this video being super late. I kind of just got caught up on doing other things in my life that I probably should have done after I'd done this, but it's getting done and it's gonna get uploaded, so that's all that really counts. But yeah, like, comment, subscribe if you want, and I hope you enjoyed the video, and bye.